Do you have a child in 4-H, or were you a 4-H kid yourself? Have you ever stopped to think about what those projects, the meetings, the fair days actually build? And not just for kids today, but for the future of ag in our state? At the Florida State Fair, we sat down with Chris DeCubellis, a 4-H state specialized agent, to talk about his own journey growing up in 4-H, the role that he plays in the organization today, and why programs like 4-H matter now more than ever. From hands-on learning to leadership development, this conversation highlights how 4-H is shaping the next generation of ag leaders. So y'all, let's jump right into today's podcast chat. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Florida Homesteader Podcast. My name is Jamie and I am your host for this episode. We are coming to you from the Florida State Fair, and this is part of the Voices of Agriculture. And this has been a very, very neat experience where we get to talk with so many folks that have their deep hands in the field of ag. And right now, I am very excited to have Chris with me. You're going to have to tell the title, your 4-H project.
I'm a 4-H state specialized agent.
That's it.
Yes, ma'am. 4-H agriculture.
4-H. So you go across the entire state.
Across the state.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I grew up in Pasco County on a small farm, so about an hour from here. And my family's had been in Pasco County for over 100 years in agriculture, various forms of agriculture. I had an uncle in the dairy business, and my grandpa had an orange grove, citrus grove, and family had beef cattle and a little bit of timber. And I currently live in Archer, Florida, outside of Archer, Florida. And I've got a small cow-calf operation and raise a few vegetables. In my free time, I work full time, but I like to dabble in agriculture because I work with the kids, so I like to stay practiced up.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be reading in a book. I want to be able to tell the kids something from lived experience, along with the research and that sort of thing.
Did you grow up in 4-H?
Yeah, 4-H and FFA, yes,
4-H and FFA.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been in your blood for
yes,
your whole
ma'am.
life.
My dad was in 4-H in Pasco County in the 1930s.
Wow.
Yeah, been a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. How far back does your family go in the state of Florida?
Over 100 years.
Nice.
Like 100
generations, 8 generations?
I guess you could say so, but the funny part is my dad was 51 years old when I was born, and his dad was about 51 years old when he was born. So
are you carrying on this tradition here?
No, I'm 51 this year, and I don't have any plans to carry it on up to this point. But I guess you're getting over with. Yeah, miracles happen, I guess.
I guess so. It happens every day. Yes. That's neat. So tell us a little bit about what you do with your field.
Well, I work with the 4-H program at the state level. I was a county extension agent for many years and actually worked in several counties. But for the last, I'd say 10 years, I've been in the state office as a state specialized agent. And so my job is to help coordinate a lot of the agriculture programs in Florida 4-H. I work a lot with the dairy and poultry programs. I work with a lot of we have great specialists in the animal science department at UF, and they do a lot with the animal programs. So a lot of times beef and swine, we've got great specialists, equine, great specialists that have worked in those areas. But areas like rabbit and goat and that sort of thing, we got a lot of kids that have a lot of interest in those projects. And so I do a lot of deep dive in those just because, I'm the guy that can help them. And then I help as needed with other ag programs. And also part of just the state leadership, help organizing the state Florida 4-H at state level.
So just like when we got started, you had the opportunity to talk with that young man that was here.
Yes, ma'am.
And he's in 4-H.
Yes,
you knew
ma'am.
their director.
Yeah,
is
they're
that
county
the
agent. That's right.
County agent. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a real good county agent. Nancy Moore's in Hernando County. She's one of the best in the business.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So with the kids, teaching them and what you're doing, obviously you have a passion. On the interviews that we've had just today alone is the passion of encouraging kids to continue on with ag and to keep that legacy going with so many, with those that have been cattle ranchers for decades to the ones that are just coming up saying this is really important. That's obviously a very clear message for you too.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Having that.
It really is. When I was a little kid, I think I was in elementary school. I believe I was probably around 8 or 9 years old. My uncle traded me a Holstein heifer, and the deal was I had to spend the night over the summer. I had to spend Friday night at his house, and I worked all day Saturday on his farm, and that paid for that heifer. That was my very first project animal, the heifer.
Okay.
And so that stuck with me that I had to work to earn that
Yeah.
heifer. And so we started a program in Florida 4-H several years ago called the 4-H Dairy Heifer Chain.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of proud of this program. It doesn't affect a lot of kids just because of the way the program works. But a young person applies to we had some dairy farmers donate registered heifers. The kids raise these heifers and they show the animal and keep records on the animal, just like a regular 4-H project. We get that animal bred via artificial insemination, so we know we have a fairly good chance of getting a heifer calf. And so that first heifer calf that's born to that animal then goes to another kid, and they apply for it and they have to interview and everything. So we call it the Dairy Heifer Chain. So every 2 years, a new kid's getting an animal that started several years ago now.
Multi-generation
Yes,
of that
we're now
cow.
on about the 4th generation of this project. So
That is impressive.
so we've had about 14 kids statewide getting a registered animal that they normally wouldn't be able to. I'm kind of proud of that program.
I would be too.
I'm very proud of that. And
Good for you.
And we've got another program called Work Ready Florida, which is funded through the USDA, where we work with kids like you're talking about. A lot of the kids that live in town or in subdivisions or in apartments, and they're interested in ag and they want to learn more about ag. And so we teach them about ag, and we teach them about careers in agriculture.
Yes.
And related fields like pharmaceuticals or sales, that sort of thing. And we also work with them on soft skills and job skills, employability skills like resume building and interview skills, showing up on time, how to introduce themselves to somebody, that sort of thing. And so we hopefully that they'll have marketable skills in a field of agriculture. And then we work with Farm Bureau. They have that wonderful AEST program. So those kids work towards those certifications through Farm Bureau's AEST program. It's really good for those kids.
I don't think, I don't want to say a lot of folks, but I don't think some folks really realize the depths that you can get into in the ag related just by starting off as a kid. What you learn as you were growing through this and being part of these organizations like 4-H, and what you learn, like you mentioned. I was talking earlier to Mr. Doyle Carlton, and we were talking about the different components of ag. It's not just showing an animal.
That's right.
You're talking, like you mentioned, the pharmaceutical side, the healthcare side.
Sure.
It's ag is growing crops. I mean, we're here in the Hall of Fame here at the State Fair, and to our side is the Florida Peanut Producers Association. There's peanuts in Florida. It's all part of ag.
That's right.
And I don't know that, when you get into 4-H, you might be starting off showing a rabbit or a chicken or a goat or a steer or something like that. But you're learning so much about what our state can do.
That's right.
And then what avenues you can go into.
Sure.
As you grow.
And Florida, with our climate, we're a good place to raise things. We're a good place of course, everybody wants to live in Florida.
Yeah.
So that's a good climate, but it's a good climate for a lot of crops. If you're an extension in, I don't want to call out any states, but some states, if you're a county agent, you got to know corn, you got to know soybeans, and you've got to know just some basic agronomic crops. And that's about 90% of your state's agriculture. Well, here in Florida, you've got to know from zucchini to avocado to, it's A to
peanuts.
Z. Peanuts. We've got over 100 crops that I'm aware of that's commercially grown here in the state. Still, even though we're the 3rd largest state population-wise, and we're losing green space every day, but thankfully we still have a viable agriculture industry in this state, and it's a very important industry.
You almost kind of struck a little bit of a nerve when you talk about the growing space that we're, that I think that could be a topic for another day.
Yes, ma'am.
But even getting off of the green, the waters around us.
That's right.
The farming that you can do with the shrimp and the seafood and all of that.
Aquaculture.
Absolutely. So there's so many components to it that when you get into 4-H, that you start learning the sprout or the avenues that a kid can take. It's endless. The options are endless.
Well, and like I said to the young man, maybe you heard me mention, he'll be an informed consumer. He mentioned he was going to do meat judging. Even if he never gets a job in the meat industry, which there's a lot of good jobs in groceries. Every grocery store has jobs, good jobs in meats and beyond the grocery store level. But even if he doesn't, if he goes into a grocery store and sees something that's marked USDA grade A choice, he'll understand what that means.
He will. Yeah.
And he'll be able to make informed decisions and spend his dollar wisely because he'll understand
he'll get
what those grades mean.
I had the opportunity to be at the Polk County Youth Fair.
Yes, ma'am.
Last week or so, and they were doing the poultry exhibit. And one of the coordinators there, she was telling some kids that had walked up about the difference between the grade A and the different types of eggs
Sure.
that you have.
Right.
And their eyes were just about as big as eggs. They're like,
Mhm.
what? You know, they just didn't
Mhm.
understand it. And I was like, oh, you need to get into 4-H. You need
Yeah.
to start just
Exactly.
to understand that, what that means. But you're right. And I think that is one of the greatest passions that we're starting to see is on our end with the magazine and everything with Florida Homesteader is people are wanting to know where their food comes from.
That's right.
They want to know what's in their food, whether they are growing it themselves or they are buying it from a farmer who's growing it, whether it's beef, dairy, fish, whatever it is. They want to know all about that. So having those kids have that education base
Mhm.
is important too.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I think it empowers people to be able to grow one's own food.
Yes, absolutely.
And I share that all the time with young people, especially through gardening. A gardening project is a great gateway project for a young person to get excited about agri. Even if they're growing one tomato plant in a pot, or if they're growing an in-ground traditional garden, or even a fruit tree or a flower, the notion of some living thing is under my care, and
Yeah.
I have a lot of responsibility to make decisions to
Mhm.
best meet the needs of that, whether it's a plant or a bunny or whatever.
Whatever it
A lot of
is.
responsibility there for a young person.
There is.
But
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
empowering for them to have success with that.
Yes, yes, it is. Especially when they can turn around and they can eat the fruits of their labor.
That's right.
You know.
And a kid, if you serve a radish in a elementary school cafeteria, they might throw it in the garbage. But if they grew that radish themselves,
Mhm.
they'll gobble it up and they'll want for more. If they grew it, they'll eat it.
We have a smaller garden in comparison to what a lot of folks do, but with our grandchildren, they love going out into our garden, and they love it. To them, it's snacks. They call them snacks. They'll go out. They want to pick the green beans.
That's
They want to
right.
pick the tomatoes. I want to go get a snack, and out to the
Yeah.
garden they go. In fact, here in the corner, they have a little kids market where you are the grower, you're the farmer, and they would go around with their little baskets and they pick up the oranges, and they have this little garden with plastic fruit, and then you have to sell it at the farmer's market, and then you get your money and you can go buy stuff, and then you turn around and do it again. Well, our grandchildren were over there. They were picking all the carrots out of the fake garden over here, and one of the kids that was working it, he's like, well, he's taking all the carrots. I said, because that's what he does back home. He eats all the carrots right out of the ground. That's what he's used to. So it's a neat thing to start him on.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you build habits early in young people. Habits,
Mhm.
sometimes you carry habits the rest of your life. So if you have the habit of
Mhm.
working and
Yeah.
using your hands
Yeah.
and eating habit
Mhm.
too. So yeah, you carry all that stuff the rest of your
It
life.
makes a big difference.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been here at the fair. The fair just started,
Yes, ma'am.
and today, share with us a little bit about what you were doing today. That
Okay,
was kind of
so
a neat sneak peek that we got to watch you. Well, we didn't get to see
yeah.
in action.
Well, this morning, before I met you today, we had the sheep skillathon, and then after we had the swine skillathon.
Mhm.
So every species that exhibits, kids, 4-H and FFA kids that exhibit here at the fair, they have an opportunity, of course, to show the animal that they've raised, but they have other educational contests too. And so I help with the skillathon. It's like a skills test, basically. And the fair rotates through 4 general themes each year. And this year's general theme is animal health. And so for the swine stations, we had 6 stations that the young people could go through, and they had to demonstrate a variety of skills related to rearing swine or keeping swine healthy or recognizing disease in swine. We had one station where the young people had to accurately estimate the weight of their pig and then draw up a proper dose of a dewormer for that animal. Just so that's an example of one of the stations. And so that's the type of thing that's a real hands-on farm. If you're going to raise animals, there's going to be times when you're going to have to medicate those animals,
Yeah,
either
you will.
preventative medicine like a dewormer or treating something like with another product. And so being able to accurately read the label and determine your animal's needs and the correct route of administration for that medication, that's important skills. And
Yeah, it is.
those are real skills the kids are going to need to be able to have success with their projects, and then if they go into production ag later on.
Well, and that animal's life is dependent
That's
on your
right.
care.
That's
and,
right.
And to be able to do it the right way.
That's
and
the
and
key.
that's what you want to do. Even if you're growing your animals for your own production, for your own consumption, you still want to make sure that you're doing that. They're treat them with fairness and good
That's right.
quality and stuff. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What other parts? You're here at the fair,
Yes, ma'am.
but outside of the fair world, what else do you dabble in?
Well, professionally, well, I mentioned we run the dairy program, and so
Mhm.
we have young people that do dairy quiz bowl contests and
Mhm.
judging contests. Those are quite popular.
Mhm.
And of course, I work with a poultry. It's a statewide virtual poultry club,
Okay.
and I've got about 200 kids enrolled in that.
Okay.
And we meet once a month on Zoom, and we learn about chickens. And the kids take care of their hens at home, keep a small layer flock. Some of them sell eggs, some of them
Uh-huh.
just use the eggs themselves. But that's a lot of fun too. I really get a lot of enjoyment out of working with those poultry kids.
Cindy involved in that?
Cindy has helped sometimes. She's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now she's more into the purebred stuff.
Okay. Yeah,
She
she
does
is.
the
Yep.
purebred, yeah.
Yeah.
But she is a great resource for the kids and works
Mhm.
tirelessly for
Mhm.
the young people.
Mhm.
She's what an asset she is here
She
in
is.
Florida.
She is.
Yeah.
Cindy Keinert, if you're listening, if you're wanting to get into poultry,
She's for purebred
she's
exhibition poultry. She's the best in the state.
she is the best in the state. Very
Yeah.
knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable. Yeah.
I was shadowing her not long ago, and just I was like,
Yeah.
I learned from
Oh
her.
yeah.
You know,
She's
I don't
good.
anybody can learn from her. she,
Yeah. And she'll share it with you too.
yeah, she will.
She'll
She
share.
will.
But most recent thing I've gotten into, I've written a couple of children's books,
Really?
and they have been published, and one is introducing kids to the 4-H Poultry Project. Actually, another one is about the Dairy Project.
What are the names of the
The
books?
one book is called Betsy the Barred Rock Hen, and the other book is called A Heifer for Sophia. And they're
Cute.
both available. And I don't know if I should do a commercial,
You
but
do a commercial,
they're at the
absolutely.
UF IFAS bookstore sells those
Okay.
books. Yeah.
Is that something that they can go
They go
online
online
to?
and look up University of Florida IFAS bookstore, and they're available there. Yes,
I tell
ma'am.
you what, if you get me that link, I will make sure to put that in
Oh,
the
okay.
show notes. So if
Okay.
you're looking for some good children's books, you'll go to our show notes and you can pick those up. That would be
I'll
fun.
throw this out there too. I don't make any money. All the money made goes to the poultry book goes to the 4-H Poultry Project, and any money made from the other book goes to the Dairy Project.
Oh
So that's kind of my
wow,
little way of
of giving
giving
back.
something small back
Well,
to
then
them.
that's a good way to
Yeah.
support those
Yeah.
kids and get involved too.
So yes,
I've
ma'am.
got little ones coming up, so I'm going to have to get those
Yeah,
books for my own.
I'll have to get one and sign it for you.
Oh, I would love to have an autograph copy. That would
Yeah.
be great. Very
I'd be
neat.
happy to do it.
So outside, okay, so you have your own farm.
Yes, ma'am.
You're busy across the state.
Yes, ma'am.
You write children's books.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like there's more underneath your cape.
Well, I stay pretty busy, but
Yeah,
I
you do.
have a lot of fun too. I like
Yeah.
what I do, and I like the
Uh-huh.
people I get to be around.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I tell kids interested in ag. This is a career that people are genuinely, I think, across the board, typically very nice.
Mhm.
Very good people work
Yep.
in agriculture.
Yep.
Salt of the earth people. And I tell the kids in these shows that look around, you might as well make friends now, because if you go into an ag career, you'll be working with these people for the
Y-
next 30 or 40
You
years
will.
of your life.
You
So you might as
will.
well get to be friends with them now.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're going to cross paths at some
Hmm.
point. It's good to have those connections
That's
too.
right. Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, you never know when you might need to make phone a friend and
That's
say, "Hey,
right.
I need some help
Absolutely.
here." Well, that is very true in any walk of life. But yeah, I agree with you on that. So, what are some of the things that's on the horizon that you see with ag as it relates to kids that are coming up, or whether it's on the positive, on opportunities, or whether it is concerns?
Well, certainly we kind of talked a little bit about the loss of rural lands and green space in this state. That's a challenge, but
Mhm.
there's also an opportunity there too. We're going to have to find a way. I think this is purely, I'm editorializing, and I think some of
Right.
these kids might be the ones that do it that are coming up in the future. We're going to have to figure out a way to grow food maybe in a more suburban or urban environment. Now, I
Yes.
don't know what that's exactly going to look. If I knew what it exactly was going to look like, I probably
Yeah.
would have figured it out already.
Right.
But somehow we're going to have to provide space for people to grow food, fresh fruits and vegetables in particular, at more of a level that could be integrated into more urban landscape. The other thing I think along with that is people like to have a connection with their food, like you mentioned.
Yes.
And so even the large producers can capitalize on that. I think, when I was a kid coming up in Florida, we knew what Ruskin tomatoes were.
Mhm.
We knew what Zellwood, it was celebrated. We literally had sweet corn festivals,
Mhm.
and we had watermelon festivals.
Mhm.
I know what a Chiefland watermelon is. I know what a Ruskin tomato is. I know
Mhm.
what Zellwood corn. And so just recapturing some of that magic of
Mhm.
it was,
Mhm.
they'd ship Zellwood corn all over the world,
Mhm.
but here in Florida, we knew how special it was.
Mhm.
And I think just recapturing a little bit of that local
Mhm.
flavor brings some of the magic back, I think.
Mhm.
Like Plant City strawberries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that also ties into eating seasonally.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
know, when you have that seasonal experience,
Gives you something to look forward
it
to.
does. It
Yeah.
does. I was talking with somebody the other day. They were at Warner and they work in the ag department there, or in the ag classrooms. And she was telling me that her kids, they wanted to get a watermelon outside of the Florida watermelon season. She's like, I'm not buying that watermelon. She's, I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
And she said, you buy it from where it's grown, and
Mhm.
which is here in Florida, and you
Yeah.
eat it in the season.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
you know, which is neat.
Mhm.
Now we are huge into preserving our
Oh,
food too.
my wife does. We are too.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So what for us, we just got done putting up a huge amount of green beans,
Mhm.
and that we're well, grandkids ate all of our green beans, but we buy them from a farmer,
Mhm.
and I'll put them up, and so we eat on them all year long. But it's still preserving
Yeah.
from that season, and
And
that's
a
good
good
to do.
skill and that's
Yeah.
another empowering skill.
Yes.
Even my wife and
Mhm.
I help her. I help her with the preserving part,
Mhm.
but she cans and she dehydrates. Our recent thing she got a couple years ago is a freeze dryer, and she'll freeze
Us
dry.
too.
So, yeah,
Yep.
and
Yep.
we have one of those Harvest Right.
Yep. Us too. Yep.
Yeah, and so that's
No
fun to
paid
play.
promotional
Yeah,
with that, by
yeah.
the way.
But it's really interesting.
It
I
is.
never would
It
have thought
is.
I'd have done that, but and it's nice to when you take a bite of something that you grew or that you
Yeah.
preserved.
Yeah.
It really is nice. The economics behind it, it just
It makes
extends your
sense.
money, and
It
as you're
does.
buying
Yes.
your dollar,
Yeah.
because if you can buy green beans in season when the price is right, or onions or
Mhm.
tomatoes or whatever, then you can preserve it and eat it the rest of the year. How that stretches the dollar,
Oh,
doesn't
it does. It does. And then but the goodness that you're having, and you're supporting that farmer if you buy
Mhm.
it from that farmer too,
That's right.
which works out good too.
Mhm. Sure.
Yeah. So talking about freeze drying, have you tried freeze dried star fruit?
I have not.
Oh,
Sounds good.
brother, you got to get you some star fruit. We in a neighboring county have a friend. He has a huge tree,
Mhm.
and we just loaded up on grocery bags of star fruit. We have them coming out of our ears, and the freeze dryers nonstop with
Oh,
star
wow.
fruit.
That
They
sounds
are
good.
so good. They
I
are
bet
so
it is good.
Yeah, you got to try
It's
that. But
probably like candy.
it is. Yes, it is. We'll get some peaches, freeze dry them, and our grandbabies, man, they call it candy.
Mhm.
I would much rather give that to them
Oh,
than any
yeah.
kind of candy.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Yeah, it works out good. So that food preservation is key, but that's another part of the things that I think kids can learn now
Oh,
too.
sure. Yeah.
You know, not only growing it, but how you preserve it so you can continue to enjoy
Yeah,
it.
part of our dairy program, we, of course, a lot of the kids raise cattle, dairy
Mhm.
cattle, but we also do a program with kids where we teach them how to make mozzarella cheese, and they
Nice.
love that.
I-
Then the kids make pizza,
Uh-huh.
and we also make ricotta cheese with them, and they make
Oh.
cannoli out of that. So the kids love it because
They love it.
they
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, they tear
Yeah.
that cheese up.
Yeah, and then they're going home and they're teaching mom and
Mhm.
dad on,
Yeah.
you know, we're going to make our own
Mhm.
homemade pizza instead of ordering it in.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is even
Mhm.
more rewarding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about some of the concerns with the downsizing of our properties that we have. The alternative to that is the optimistic side of what we can grow into.
Yeah. We're gonna
Where
have to
we can
figure out ways.
continue on
Yeah.
what we can do.
I know Vertigrow is a Florida
Yep. Yep.
product, vertical growing and
Mhm.
hydroponics type growing, and
I've seen that. That's pretty
yeah,
impressive.
it really is. I mean, if you'd have told people in the 1800s the kind of planters and balers and cultivators
Mhm.
and combines and stuff we have today, they would have blown their mind. So
Oh,
who knows
they-
what we're going to see?
Yeah,
And,
that's
and
true.
ever
What
these
the
kids in their lifetime,
What they're going to see.
innovations, even just drones, utilizing drones. This is kind of interesting, but I have 160 acres.
Mhm.
Next to me is 2,500 acres.
Mhm.
And the farmer that farmed it for years and years passed away, and I was so worried it was going to go into subdivision. But a large company has purchased it, and they're growing something called stevia. It's
You mean like the
the
sweetener?
sweetener. Stevia only grows in zone 9, and there's about 99.9% of it comes from overseas. And so they realized in COVID, well, I can tell you, it was the Splenda Corporation,
Okay.
and they are now growing a domestic supply of stevia in Florida. There's 2 farms.
Really?
They've got a big farm in Sumter County and a big farm in Alachua County, and they're
Really?
growing stevia. And I've never seen anything like it. And
Yeah.
and they got out there and scouted that field with a big drone one day. It's
Yeah.
the first time I'd ever seen a drone used in that application.
Yeah,
And I know
yeah.
they're using drones for
Oh, yeah.
scouting, for
Yeah.
spraying, all sorts of applications in agriculture.
Mhm. I've seen the drones being used for control burns.
Yeah.
that's pretty cool to see that too.
They say that you can use them to move cattle. I've never tried that, but I can only imagine what
I
kind
don't
of
know.
fun you could have moving cows with drones. But I have a hard enough time.
That would be, I can just see it now.
Yeah,
That
but
would be interesting to see. Wow.
might have some fence to fix after that.
You might. That's funny. I appreciate you coming on and sharing this with us and letting us
Yeah.
introduce you to our listeners and everything and what you do for the kids across
Oh.
the state of Florida and the communities that you serve. So that's a huge thing. So thank you for
Well, thank
that.
you all very much
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
having me.
There's one last thing that you want to add. Anything you want to add?
We can always use caring adults in 4-H. If you're out there and you've got some talent, it doesn't have to be ag-related. If you sew, if you're a woodworker, if you can do ham radio, I'm sure there's some kid out there that would love to learn something that you're passionate about. And if
Okay.
you want to share it, we can get you hooked up with your local county 4-H agent.
Now, is there a main website that folks can go to
Yes,
or something?
4h.org
Okay.
is our website.
And we'll make sure to put that in the
Mhm.
show notes also, so
Yeah.
folks can click on that. Is this
Okay.
pretty simple? They can click.
Yeah,
they can choose their county.
there's a place to volunteer, and we got county offices listed. Yes, ma'am.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you. Y'all, this has been a fun conversation that we have. So if you have additional questions, we'll make sure to put that in the show notes so you can get a hold of Chris and ask, or you can always reach out to us and we'll make sure to pass that along to them. So thank you for tuning in, and just remember to make sure to subscribe, like, share this episode with a friend, follow along to the Florida Homesteader. And until then, y'all come back now.
Thanks for spending your time with us on the Florida Homesteader Podcast. We want to extend a special thank you to Chris for taking the time out to join us at the Florida State Fair and for sharing his insight, experience, and heart for 4-H and youth ag. It's conversations like this that remind us how important it is to invest in our youth and support programs that build confidence, leadership, and a connection back to ag. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Your support helps others find the show, and it allows us to continue sharing stories that matter. And if you think that this episode relates to a young person in your life, we encourage you to share that with them as well. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep investing in the next generation. Y'all come back now.